Hey, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. I am your host, Soma79. Thank you so much for joining me. My guest today is my man, Hush Harding. My Project Mayhem bingo card gets one more slash through it with Hush coming through here. I've known Hush since I think he was 16 and I was like 27, 28. I don't know. Back then, he was a better rapper than me. He's probably still a better rapper than me now. But this dude has always blown me away, and he's sort of just, it's weird. He's somebody who I've kind of looked up to, even though he is so much younger than me. His motivation and his passion, even when he was that age, was set him apart from everybody else that I knew. He was organized at a young age in a way that others weren't, and he sort of could stay focused and just knew what he had to do. And I've watched him over the years, and he's reinvented himself numerous times, come up with different ideas. He loves coming up with ideas and seeing if he can make them work. And I don't know, love being friends with this dude. His music is awesome. Everything he does is awesome, and it's such a super cool dude. Yeah. So check out this interview with Hush. Check out everything Hush Harding is doing. He's got some dope merch. I got a Hush Harding hoodie that I wear all the time. I should have put it on now, but I wasn't thinking ahead. But go to hushharding.com. I think that's what it is, and pick up a hoodie or pick up all that stuff. The one I have is wicked nice material. I've been wearing it for years. And so just go check out my man Hush anywhere. He is in part of Good Burger 2 at the end, so go check that out and check out all of his music and all that stuff. All right, I'll talk to you. Peace. Yo, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. We are back from our break. I am Soma79. My guest today is my longtime friend, Sean Hush Harding. What's going on today, man?
What's up, man? How you been? I'm just chilling,
Fantastic.
working,
Fantastic.
fresh out of session right now.
Yeah. Oh, yes. What were you doing?
I was recording. I don't know if you heard of Exit Fame and Hands Down.
Yeah.
They were doing a track, so I was recording and mixing that. Just
That's
yeah,
awesome, man. That's
laying it
awesome. So you've been recording so when we first met, you were like 16 and I was like 27, I think. And I remember like being in like your bedroom and being like, wow, this is way past the point of my life I should be smoking weed in like a high school kid's bedroom. But I'm like, he's also a better rapper than me, so it's like I don't really know how that factors in. You were good before anybody was good. I remember you coming up to the studio in Boston with Judge D and Skippy and me, and you being like, holy shit, what is going on here?
Yeah,
When
nah,
did
that's probably still to this day like the best studio I've recorded in.
I know. What a shame that that ended.
I know, right? I don't even gonna get into those details, but yeah, nah.
Yeah.
Actually, thank you for that because that was definitely like at that age. I was like 16, so I was like a good experience to like see the difference. You know what I mean? And not for
Yeah.
nothing, I've been in other expensive studios, but now that I know how to engineer better, I'm more like more of it is on the engineer. Like the equipment is good for like tracking the vocal,
Yeah.
but as far as like making the song, it's really more in the engineer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking. Especially too, if you consider that all of our iPhones have like better recording equipment than like the Beatles ever had. It's like
I know that's crazy.
it's
Well, that's
like
not completely true because they had some good hardware. I feel like,
right, yeah.
but still,
Yeah. You've always seemed to be somebody who like wanted to learn everything on your own, like probably so you know less dependent on others. Like that's something I have always tried to adopt that too, where it's like, you know, once you start paying somebody to mix after a while, you're like, why can't I just fucking do this? You know?
well, I mean, it's not even that I wouldn't. It's just getting it right. Like the amount of no one's gonna care more about your stuff than you unless you just have endless money to like
Yeah.
make them care. You know what I mean? And the reason I started recording myself was because I was like, I'm not gonna have money to be in these big studios. And also like I'm from the age of see like when you started recording, it's probably more of a hassle because like I at least had hand-me-down computers and I was always on a computer. So I was like bootlegging software.
I started on a 4 track.
Allegedly
Yeah,
bootleg.
yeah,
So.
yeah. I had a 4 track. You couldn't bootleg those.
Yeah, so the 4 track, this is the gift and the curse though, right? So
Yeah.
like back then you had less tracks, so like you would rehearse more and practice more. So artists would be like, yo, I could do this whole verse in one take
Yeah.
and it's fire. And I feel like that has like the advantage of that where people come more prepared. But like nowadays I kind of blend that mind state, and the new mind state of the newer kids is kind of like make everything on the spot, almost freestyle and like freestyle, chopping in pieces, like punching in, which is like some people be like, oh, like I feel like older purists might be like, oh, that's whack. Like you ain't even rapping the whole verse. But
Yeah.
technically, I feel like it's kind of like you get more of the moment, and it's like you're capturing a certain magic where like you can't really do that. If like say if you write a verse and rehearse it for a week, it's not
Right.
really the same as like if you just made some shit on the spot and you kind of let the music guide you.
Well, that's where like so much of modern music context is really important. Like even like a lot of like the mumble rap, it doesn't appeal to me, but I watched like even like a documentary, I think Lil Peep, and I was like, oh, when I see this shit in the context, it makes a lot more sense. And it's
Yeah,
like the music sounds better when I'm watching the people in the club enjoying it. It's like for some reason
yeah.
that
You
whole sensory
understand it
deprivation
more.
of it. Yeah. It's so
I
easy to it's easy to dismiss when it's like it makes more sense when you're there, unless you're a total like dismissive prick. But
Yeah, because I get that for sure. Like I definitely, I feel like I used to like nowadays I would like I'll always find the good in something nowadays. Like I'm not really
yes.
it's like usually not any style of rap I can usually enjoy a piece of it because like even if it was like low quality mixing, I'm like, oh, but he spazzed, and if that was in a good studio, it'd be fire. Or
Yeah.
vice versa. If like the artist is whack, but the quality of the beat and everything is good, I'm like, oh, the
Yeah.
engineer. Like I'm also like I dabble in everything. So I could be like, oh, the rap was kind of weak, but that engineer and producer, they went
Yeah.
crazy.
I
Like,
get excited at other people's successes like that, where I'm like, oh, because a lot of times that's how I'll find people to collab with. Like, I'll just like, I found this dude, Jason Sinatra. He came up in my random radio Spotify with this one track that blew me away. And I'm like, I got to get this dude on something. I just tracked him
that's
down
fine.
and he was on my album.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I like the fact that we can almost reach out to everyone nowadays. Like
Yeah.
if you just come correct, you could literally link with anybody. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, speaking of that, all right, so I had to do that with Copyright, and him and I have become friends, though.
Yeah.
If y'all don't know, Copyright is in jail right now, but his new album is
What's he in
out.
jail for? I seen that.
I believe this is probation violation related to a
Ah,
DUI, but
yeah,
and
yeah. Actually,
if you were to pay attention to when Copyright was on the Articulate Ox podcast several episodes ago, he was driving around in this car, and let's just say he perhaps could have been arrested that day as well. There was a
oh,
lot cut from that interview that I did to protect
oh
him
yeah, yeah.
because
Allegedly.
yeah, yes, allegedly. But there was yeah, he dropped some bombs on that I'm like, dude, I got this is gonna have to go on the editing floor. So,
Yeah, not copyright. I actually did a show with them. Not it might have been like a year or two ago. It was like him and Ritz, and
oh
we were
yeah.
like hanging out because you already know, like you were around those days. Like copyright was the first like known rapper
Yeah,
headliner
he was in
that
your
I like did a
kitchen.
show for. Yeah,
That's what I was
yeah.
gonna get to. Is like I'm still reaching out with these dudes on the internet, and like that dude is in your kitchen when you were like in high school. How did that? Because I wasn't there that night. Like, how did that happen?
Um,
Is he just
so I
like?
believe that might have been a lead show, and like I was around with the older kids, like you already know, like
Yeah,
Donnie and all them
Donnie.
and shit.
Yeah, Judge
Oblivious
D.
for people who don't know.
Oblivious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they were booking shows with leads, and I feel like they might have like I don't know if they particularly like threw down to get copyright or something, but like he pulled up to my kitchen, my brother gave him some like fire ass bud, and he was like, "Oh, I don't smoke while I'm on tour, but I'll take that shit." Like,
That's not the copyright I know.
yeah, nowadays he's definitely smoking.
Yeah,
Copyright too, like his old shit, like he's kind of been had legend status since back then. I feel like you
I
know what
think
I
that
mean.
too. Yeah,
Like he's
yeah.
not the biggest he might not be the biggest like mainstream draw, but I feel like anyone who raps knows him as like a lyrical punchline god. You know what I'm
And
saying?
to be
Like,
fair, some of that's his own fault. I mean, I think even he'd admit from some of his
oh, as far as
personal
his career,
personal
like
choices. I think like is his own fault.
um it
His
also
new album
goes
though
back.
just came out, and I did the cover for it, and it's the album is
I saw
dope.
that
Yeah,
actually. I
the
didn't
album
listen
is
to it,
really
but I saw
dope.
you did the cover.
Yeah,
Um, you know what I noticed though is like, all right, so back then, I don't really know his record label situation, but it seems like I said, like making music back then, you were kind of more reliant on like distribution, record labels, for, like you had to get all the pieces,
yeah,
and it was harder to do. So like it was easier to like I kind of look at like say like someone like Cannabis, right? Like back then when you have the whole machine, you have like a certain level that you reach. Like he had Mike Tyson in his video and all
yeah,
that shit.
yeah.
And then it's like without that machine, are you still the artist that you were? So
Right.
like that's one thing I feel lucky about is like no matter like I could blow up and fall off and blow up and fall off, but I'm responsible for it most of the time because I'm the one making the content. So it's like I'm not relying like, oh, I lost my studio connect, so now my music is worse. You know what I mean?
Right. And some of these rappers, and it's like I've had the joy of working with some decent name rappers in the past few years, like some of my childhood heroes. But it's like there's a big range between people like that I've worked with that are super, super professional and others that are the super opposite. Where one of them even told me, he's like, look, I don't know how to change any of the settings on my Pro Tools. All I know how to do is record like and send it. And it's like
Yeah.
he's like, and if that breaks, that basically, and I was just like, dude, you've recorded classic albums. Like, what is
Yeah,
going on?
yeah. So you'd be shocked sometimes. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing too, is a lot of people like I'm more on the back, like I know more behind the scenes stuff. So I'm not really even amazed, like shocked that much anymore if I meet like a rapper who's done big shit. And like
Yeah.
you said, he doesn't really know his way around engineer because that's not technically his job, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right. Yeah.
But like nowadays I feel like the lines are just blurred.
Right.
Like
If
it's
you're
like
not learning that stuff, but like I feel like you got to learn that stuff.
it's
It's
a
this there,
disservice to yourself.
right. There
Yeah.
aren't that many parts to that job that it's like you got the time. Like
Um,
it's you know.
not for nothing, like how I even got good at a lot of stuff is like we live in the age of information. So like if you get my thing, I always say this to people, like they're like, how'd you learn how to do all this stuff? And I'm like, well, lucky for me, I got good at learning. Like
Yes, that's
so I'm
exactly it.
good at
Yeah.
finding information and finding out like, all right, what like I forget who made this quote, but someone said like something, it was like it was about books, but it kind of applies to like everything in life.
The
It was
illiteracy of the 20th century isn't not knowing how to read, it's not knowing how to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Is that it?
it was something like this, like I forget what it was. It was like you're if you don't read a book, like someone, all right, so like a person could spend their whole life mastering something, and you could read their one book, and now you have a lifetime of knowledge. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like say like someone who's like say if you read like a book from like the Beatles engineer,
yeah,
like this dude spent a lifetime recording the Beatles, and he put it all in this book. So now I have a lifetime, like I
yeah,
learned from him rather than having to spend my life learning all that shit.
yeah.
I just read his book. You know what I mean?
Do you read a lot of music memoir? Those are my favorite books to read, are memoirs, especially like music ones where you can really get inside the creative process.
I've read like a decent amount, not necessarily like music ones. I've read a couple. And then also like I'll dabble into like I like when artists put out audiobooks, like 50 Cent's
Yeah, yeah.
audiobooks, like
I
those are
love shit like that.
fire.
Yeah.
Russ's audiobook. I don't know if you heard
I just
that.
read Russ's book. Yeah, I read that last year. That's a good
Um,
book.
Rick Rubin has one. I forget if I listened to the whole thing, but I know he like I do want to listen to
Yeah.
that.
You know,
Um,
one you can skip is Action Bronson's. I read his book and it was totally a COVID project. So no, he was just like, fuck it, I gotta do something. But
yeah,
like in the he make I forget what it was, but in the beginning of the book, he makes some claim. Then at the end of the book, he goes, nah, I was lying about that. And I'm like, what am I here for?
yeah.
Like, what are
I
we
mean, not
doing?
for nothing, bro. I made a book in 2 hours with AI and published it on Amazon, and
How
it's
to
on
do?
Amazon. Did you? I didn't even
No, how
read
to
it
do? Is it
so
under your
much.
name?
Oh yeah, it is. How to do it? I mean, it did nothing because I didn't promote it. I
Yeah,
literally did it kind of really to learn the
as an
process
experiment. Yeah, yeah,
to see if it could get published and also how to format a Kindle book. But then that made me think, I'm like, all right, because I feel like I should make a book. And
yeah,
but I would, like I said, what I would do is I would write like at least like write something myself and then maybe have AI like sauce it up.
yeah,
Like, but I wouldn't just completely use AI. Like if I was gonna put my name, I mean, I put my name on that, but I told people I was like, oh, I made this book with AI.
yeah, yeah.
Literally, just like I didn't even read the whole shit. Like, but if I made a book about something that I care about, like rapping or like recording, I would definitely like write my own book. Maybe use AI to make it longer. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah,
turn
yeah,
my paragraph into 5 paragraphs and like do it like that. Because I do want to read a book also because you can make like you could publish the book and then you could like clone your voice as AI and have it make the audiobook.
yeah,
And then I like now I have more content. Like now I have the audiobook, I have the book. Now I can make a website for the book. You know what I mean? Like if I was gonna
yeah.
do it, I would do it right. But I definitely in the future I will make a book for sure, or at
So
least a short book.
you generate more content consistently over the time that I've known you than anybody I know. And it is increasingly, I mean, it's always high quality, but you can also see this tremendous growth. Is
Yeah.
that so? And I've also I saw you last year doing a lot to try to get your Facebook page going again with like just the sort of memes you're posting. And it
Yeah.
seems like you're certainly always trying to figure something out. What have been some of the most successful things that you've been able to do to kind of get yourself more publicity just by grinding it out like that?
Um, so I mean, I used to try doing like the more. I mean, like I had my music reviewed on like I put it on No Jumper with like Adam 22, and there's
Yeah.
like 100 of people did that, but like I remember watching it was like when he watched my video, he called me a goat, and so I was like, this was sick. But luckily, the dude he was with like some Crip dude, and the Crip dude was more. I feel like Adam once he realized the other dude was like this kid's crazy, then he because at first they're like sarcastic, you know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah.
And then like the Crip dude, he's like, yo, this kid changed his flow like 20 times already. Like he's crazy. And then they start actually absorbing it.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
Adam, like, yo, this kid's kind of not, he's a goat. Like he's not a normal rapper. Which not for nothing, that video and song was like very, I feel like futuristic for what it was. And I edited the whole thing and shit. So that was like one because I'm like, all right, if I can get this cosign, that's like I still could post that right now. You know what I mean?
right.
Like
Yeah.
it
It's
would still get,
evergreen content, as they
yeah.
say.
And then also, so I got that cosign and I tried like getting articles made about that. It didn't really quite work as well as I thought. Like what I've realized is like when you try to promote something, like say if you take something and you try to promote that, it won't do as well as if like you use other stuff to promote it. You get what I'm saying? Like that's kind of
Yeah.
where sharing memes and like just sharing my opinion about other stuff to get people tuned into me. I noticed that's like recently I learned that that's like the best way for me to get people to my pages. But so like this year, I'm not making like nothing really substantial, but I have like now I'm monetized on YouTube. I'm monetized on Instagram. I have 4 Facebook pages that are monetized, and like monetized on TikTok. And I don't really make anything like that much off it yet. But I'm like, all right, now I have my foot in the door.
Right.
So like
Adds
if
up.
I
Yeah.
just continue to grow and keep making content, like I'm trying to snowball that. And I'm like, all right, that could be like because I want to make money off the internet really just to make better quality content. So it's like
Right.
that's kind of just what I'm trying to do at this point.
Yeah. What is like the end goal? Like what would you like to be doing ideally? Because I hadn't thought of this, but when I saw you were in Good Burger too, I was like, oh, I could definitely see him doing acting. Like that certainly makes
Uh,
sense to me.
I definitely want to be acting. I have so Good Burger 2 was actually the second movie I was in, but it was the first one to be done. But I was wicked excited. It was kind of crazy, like like I like manifested both of those, like because I had been trying to get picked for roles. Like people don't know this, right? I submitted to 500 things before I ever got picked for anything.
Holy shit.
Like so, like people be like thinking, "Oh, how do I do this?" I'm like, "Bro, I've
Yeah.
been trying to do this for years." Like what it was though I think eventually I finally got like professional looking headshots. Like I'm a nice photographer. So like once I took it more serious, I got the roles.
Yeah.
Um so Good Burger 2, granted I'm just an extra, but even in both movies that I'm in, I felt well like the other one coming out, I'm not sure like if I get screen time or yet, but like on set, I like feel like the directors and stuff were like putting me to the front and like giving me extra scenes and stuff. Like on Good Burger 2, for example, I was like, I know like the people say when you're an extra, like you're not supposed to try to stand out, but
Yeah.
I'm also like, I'm an extra, but I'm trying to be a star. So I'm like
Yeah.
trying to do extra. Um, so I'm like in the front, like doing everything. Like I remember there's like this one scene, like Kel's dancing, and we're supposed to like react to like him dancing. And I start doing like something like this. And then
Yeah.
the director's like, Kel, do this. And everyone's like, yo, they stay on your dance move or whatever. And I was like, oh, word. But then, so I thought I was like being too extra. Like one of the assistant directors came up to me and he's like, "Hey, I got something special for you. Pick 2 people." So now I just like went and picked like these 2 girls I was talking to because they were like already talking to me. So we
Yeah.
got to be
Of
in an
course they
extra
were.
scene. We got to be in an extra scene though because of that. So I was like, all right, take an initiative, like got
Yeah.
me an extra scene. So I actually have a lot of screen time in Good Burger too. I was like surprised. And I got a close up. They gave me like a zoom in. Like I was like, word. The other movie though, I'm more excited about this. So The reason why I say it manifested those though back because I was like, my friend really wanted to be in Good Burger too. He's like a huge Nick fan, and I remember we just had this combo. I was like, "Nah, we're gonna be in it. Like, we got this."
Is this
And
Sean?
well, he also got in it. Like, I
That's
helped
sweet.
put him on, but my friend Los,
All
he's
right,
like
word.
he runs an Instagram like a Nick. He like has like some sponsorship deals with like some Nickelodeon stuff or something, but like
Wow.
nothing major. But
Yeah.
he's like a huge Nick fanboy. Like he has this like huge, I think it's called like Nickelodeon is his Instagram. He goes to like Comic Con and like all these things. Like what he does is he like tufts rugs, and like he'll make like he'll go to like Comic Con and meet like the voice of like Chucky Finster and like make him a Chucky rug. You know what I mean? Like he's like big on that.
That's so dope.
But he got in it. Sean got in it. So the other movie though, the first movie I
Yeah.
got picked for is the working title was Quincy, and I was like, oh, I'm
Yeah, there
from
we go.
Quincy, so I was like, I have to be in the Quincy
The
movie. You
King of
can't
Quincy.
Yeah, so I like made that status. I was like, if they make a Quincy movie, I gotta be in it. And then I got picked. It's really called The Instigators.
Yeah.
So it's coming out on Apple TV August 9th. They finally gave the
Nice.
release date. And I found out that it's also gonna be in theaters.
Oh,
So
sweet.
August 2, select theaters, but I'm assuming it's filmed in Massachusetts. So like it's Matt Damon,
Probably.
so like it should be around
Oh,
here,
it's
right?
Matt Damon? Dope.
Matt Damon, Casey Affleck, Jack Harlow.
It sounds like Massachusetts.
Ron Perlman's in it. I don't know if
Oh,
you know who that
nice.
is. He's like
Yes.
Hellboy.
Hellboy. Yeah. Sons of
Um,
Anarchy.
this other girl, like I think Hong Choi is her name. She has like a Golden Globe from the movie The Whale
God
with Brendan
damn.
Fraser. I just got hipped up to her. But yeah, it's like this superstar studded lineup.
Yeah. Shit.
So I'm like amped up. Hopefully I get some screen time in that. I finessed on it. No, like so when you're an extra, you're supposed to just be like uncredited. So like I just went like on IMDb, you can like go fill out any info, but you to be like added to a major movie, you have to prove that you were on set. So when you're in
Yeah.
a movie, they have this app. It's called like Rabs or something. So like you have to sign into this app if you're working on the movie set. So like to on IMDb to like be added to a feature film, you have to prove your Rabs thing. So I just went and like filled out my IMDb shit, and rather than saying like, oh, uncredited extra, I just like gave myself a main role. Like just put myself as a like I was like a
Why not?
protester. Like I was a protester and there was like a bunch of protesters, but like in the scene, I'm like the top, like I'm at the
Yeah.
top, like I'm standing on this block by myself. So I
Like
just put like protest leader.
like head
You get what I'm
protest. Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like for Good Burger, rather than just like Good Burger fan, I'm like number one Good Burger fan or like whatever. Like so I got my IMDb credits. So like that I was like, because other people are just being extras, like they want to be in a movie or
Right. They're not
I'm like,
using
I'm
it as
trying to
a
use
step.
this to
Yeah.
promote my rap career.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fun
oh,
because I'm like that too. It's like I'm somebody who like I'm gonna get a cameo off somebody and put it on my album so that like when
yeah,
I did that with one of the guys from Letterkenny that I got a cameo from one of them and put on my album. I'm like, it's if I can get him to retweet it, like it's
yeah, that's awesome.
money
Like,
well spent, you know. It's like there's always something that you like someone else hasn't thought of or totally exploited yet.
yeah, well, also now, like how I told you, how I have all my pages monetized now,
Yeah,
and also like I don't know if people know I do like photography, trying to get into acting, but I also do like music videos and like corporate videos. So I'm like pretty much even other people's songs, for example, like I record other people, I can post their songs and like I get paid off whatever. So it's like I'm posting photo shoots, video, like you know what I mean. So now that I'm
yeah,
realizing, I'm like, all right, I can essentially monetize my whole life. So like,
yeah.
not that I'm like trying to turn everything into a reality show,
Right.
something, but
But
like I'm like, all right, if I do pictures, like say if me and you met up and I did a photo shoot for you, I
yeah,
could take all those pictures, post them on my page, and be like, here's this photo shoot I did and edited, and like that actually helps towards my pages. So like now I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not necessarily just a musician at this point. Like I'm literally like I know it's been like played out like influencer and content
right.
creator,
Yeah,
but it's like
yeah,
that's what I've been doing my whole life. And it's like now that everything is tied together, it's like, all right, cool. I could just whatever
yeah.
I'm doing, it still benefits me, even if I'm helping other people, which is like one, you're getting good karma, but I'm also like using it to create content for myself, like double
Yeah.
dipping with the
It's funny.
content.
I was talking to someone at my day job today about just one of the things that makes people that helps you be so successful today is having that combination of like hard skills, like technical skills, and the soft skills of knowing how to talk to people and being a decent
Yeah,
human
yeah.
being and just like, and it's like if you having both of those is almost a guaranteed success as long as you're not an utter like screw up in some other way. It's
No, facts, facts.
yeah. I just saw you with Funkmaster Flex, right? Or
Yeah, yeah.
how's Flex doing?
He actually gave us like I work doing this other podcast. I produce it. It's called Big Dookie Chain
Oh
Podcast.
yeah, with Van Styles, right?
Yeah, yeah. For
I'm
those who
supposed to
don't
have him
know.
on. I wanted to talk to him about 88.9 from back in the day.
Oh yeah, no, I love Van. He's actually he's hilarious. But
Yeah.
so the other dude is Tash, and he has like some connects in the cannabis game. So like there's this big festival, the Grass is Greener Festival.
Yeah.
So like I got to perform on it. Like all right, so we made a bunch of content for their company, and like the deal was like I forget what he got from it, but I was like, I'll do it as long as I can like get a set to perform. So I got to perform with Millie's and the Locks, which was like
Yeah.
Vado, Funkmaster Flex. So
Jadakiss is in my top 5 for
oh
sure.
yeah, I felt like it was dope because I was like, one, you're getting Jadakiss, Styles P, and Sheik
Yeah.
Louch, Millie's, Funkmaster Flex, Vado. Plus, it's in New York. That's
Yeah.
the first time I actually performed in New York. I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
I did New Jersey before, but so Funkmaster Flex though, he just gave us an interview on a whim. So like we had a whole interview. I got a picture with him. We just dropped the interview. It's just a 5-minute interview, but like even his manager was like, he doesn't really do interviews, so he must like you guys. So I was like,
Sweet.
word.
Nice. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna give a quick plug for myself because I think this might be good timing. Looks like I'll be opening for Elza in LA on July
Oh, word.
27th. Yeah, in Ontario. I think the Firewater Cantina is where it's gonna be. So
I've never
uh
performed in LA, so
me
that's dope.
neither. I just did Texas for the first time. I'm allegedly doing
Did you?
Minnesota and LA over the summer.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you just came back from Texas, right? That's where
Yeah,
you
yeah,
were.
yeah. Dude,
What part of
Texas,
Texas?
we did San Antonio and Austin. And
You
I apparently
performed though?
yeah, I performed in both.
Nice, dope,
So
dope.
we did San Antonio on 420, and I don't want to blow up anybody's spot, but like they were just like it was like oh we're just smoking weed freely completely in this bar the entire night in Texas, and I'm like this isn't the Texas that I was told about. And you go to Austin, and apparently there in like any sort of bar or club with like outdoor areas where you could smoke cigarettes anyway, which a lot of them have because it's warm
Yeah.
all the time down there. You can just freely smoke weed now.
Is it legal like in Massachusetts?
It's like
Marijuana?
there's little like dispensaries popping up that seem like they're like I don't know in like trailers. I don't it's like it seems to be just in Austin and it's just so weird because it's not what I expected to see out of Texas, but I certainly welcomed it. I mean, it's if you
Yeah, yeah.
watch my travel vlog that
I'll
I'm
check it
posting
out.
in like and you'll see how much I enjoyed it by the like this dude down there hooked me up with this joint. And I know you don't smoke anymore, but it was
Yeah.
2 grams and 1 gram of concentrate with like a glass tip, and it was the most expertly rolled thing I've
Oh
ever
yeah, that
seen.
so it's like pro level joints. That's the
Yeah,
one thing too. Even New York was like, I don't know the laws, but like this thing I performed at was like it was like a weed flea market, like
yeah.
essentially like with Millies and Jadakiss and stuff. It was crazy.
It's wild because like Massachusetts for a while was at the front line of all of that, but now all of their states have blown us away because there's no like
Yeah,
I expected there'd be weed cafes already in Massachusetts, and there's one place in Kelly Square in Worcester, like the Summit Lounge, but they didn't really
some
ever.
yeah, I've actually heard of that too because I've been doing like so the podcast things that we be doing is like I do the Big Dookie Chain one, and then the dude Tash also has like a cannabis one. So like we kind of like tour dispensary. I wish I was like smoking for this because
Yeah.
I'm like I get to be in all these dope like weed spots, and I'm like whatever. Like even tomorrow we're going on some like weed and cannoli tour or something in Boston. I was like, oh well, at least I can eat some cannolis.
Yeah. So does that take a lot of discipline? Because I mean, like, I mean that I definitely can quit smoking weed for a long period of time, but I'm guessing you're like me that if you were to smoke once, you'd probably be like, yeah, I do kind of like this. Like it triggers something in your brain. Or
um, I feel like I used to be like that, but it doesn't even. I like people can smoke around me. I don't really even crave it right now because it's like I think it's just a mental thing. Like I don't. I never even had a reason really to quit. It was more like a discipline thing, and I was like, because I like smoked heavily since I was like 12, and I like never not smoked heavily. So I was
right.
like, let me just like give life a try, not smoking 10 blunts a day and see
Yeah.
what happens. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like I've been spoiled by weed my whole life. So I'm like, all right, let me like tone this down a little bit and then see where it goes. And I feel like I just been locking in on, like you said, like doing content creation, really just like helping other artists. Like I've been working a lot with Hands Down. I don't know if you know him, he's a tattoo artist.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
He's also
Yeah.
a dope rapper. So like me and him, I've been doing a lot of his stuff. I actually been doing a lot of like other people's mixes and stuff. So I really haven't. I dropped like an album. It's more like an EP in February where I was doing like kind of like it's called Heartbreak Hush. It's a lot of like vibey, kind of like Juice World, Lil Peep
Yeah.
vibes, but like with my own twist. So the reason why I did that was actually inspired by a couple things. So like I was watching the marketing of like you know how Lil Wayne has like Carter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah,
6.
yeah.
Sorry for the wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like and I was like, yo, I need to do something where it's like repetitive, not repetitive, but like a series because people one it like generates conversation. Like people like, oh, do you like what's your favorite Carter? 1, 3
Right.
so like
And it
that
gives people a reason to go backwards if they heard like
yeah,
four first, it gives
like
them more likely to
legacy,
go back. Yeah.
legacy to it. And then also it's like if you're doing an album, right? Like, all right, so if Lil Wayne drops Carter 7 or 6, right, it's gonna have more hype behind it than if he just chose a different name. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
you're building this name.
Brandon.
Yeah. So then I was like, all right, I need to start doing that. And then I was
Which
also
it's funny about that. There's no real way to quantify why that is, but it just is. It just
it's
is.
brand recognition and it's like
Yeah.
nostalgia.
But
like,
but like it doesn't. It's does it make the music better or not? I guess you'll never know. But
it's a
like
feeling though. It's a certain
yeah, it
feeling. Like,
really
yo,
is.
this
Yeah, I
is
guess
the
you're
one.
right.
Like, this is like if Eminem drops, like he's about to drop that new album, Death of Slim Shady. But it's almost like,
Yeah, what
you're like
is the deal
Slim
with that?
Shady
Because
helped
I've
me
been
too.
really busy lately, and I got wind of that, but I don't know what's happening. It'll probably be out by the time this is released.
I'm not really sure either because I'm like Death of Slim Shady. Does this mean like this is the last Slim Shady type album, or is there like no Slim Shady vibes and you're just on some Eminem vibes?
Yeah.
Either way, I mean Eminem, he's one of those dudes where it's like you're always like you might always be disappointed, but it's because your standards are so high. So
Right.
like
Oh
I
yeah,
might
yeah,
be
yeah.
disappointed at first, but then I'm like, oh, it's still the best shit I ever heard. You know what I mean?
You know
Like,
what I do with Eminem is like, especially with Eminem's hooks, it's like Shaq shooting free throws. I can't figure out why only half of them go in, but I just learned to accept it. And Eminem, half of his hooks are good, and half of them are absolute dog shit terrible. But the verses are typically
the verses are
pretty
usually
solid.
God mode. So it's
Yeah.
like even if the thing about Eminem, bro, he's kind of how we were talking about the old artists where it's like they have the practice and rehearse shit.
Yeah.
It's not like he's so locked in
Oh
on
yeah.
the old style of music, which is more about like thinking and rehearsing, like most prepared shit. Where like music nowadays, I think is more spontaneous. So like his shit is its own thing, but he's such a big artist that he doesn't really have to follow any of like the musical trends.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
he does a
He's
little bit though. He's been rapping on like more trappy, new age shit. Like
yeah.
you
I
know he's
was
oh
yeah.
you know you're a boss because his most recent joint was literally sampling Role Model.
Yeah.
That shit where he dissed Benzino. I'm like, you know you're goaded when you're literally rapping on tracks, sampling your old tracks.
I know.
Like you definitely now you're just doing victory laps.
Yeah, what is Benzino? What is wrong? I mean, he must have some substance abuse problems or something because he just
Or
seems.
maybe steroids. I don't know if he does like
Oh,
actual regular drugs. You know what I mean?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't mind like Benzino actually like there's certain times where I see him talking, I'm like, you know what, he's actually making sense. Like I fuck with him. Like the
Yeah.
thing of like we're from Boston and like people forget that like he made the source and like did a
Yeah,
lot of cool shit.
yeah,
Like so it's like don't get me wrong, like Eminem definitely roasted Benzino back in the day, and he has said some wild shit like about white people and just Eminem. But like
yeah,
overall, he's done some legendary shit. Like I don't
yeah.
mind. Like
I mean, it's like to criticize a rapper for saying some wild shit is kind of sort of like, throwing stones at a glass house. It's like
yeah, it's
we've
like
all
people
said
go
some wild
so
shit.
hard on Benzino because
Yeah.
it's just everyone loves Eminem so much that they're just like crucify Benzino. You know what I mean?
Speaking of wild shit, you ever write something like that? You write a rhyme or something and go, boy, I love this, but I don't want this out in the public sphere. I've had a couple of those in the past few years. I'm like, man, I love the way this rhyme is structured, but I don't want anybody quoting me on this. And I share it to a few people, and they're just like, no, I don't put that out there.
I mean, I like I'll say some wild shit, but see, my thing is this: if I write some shit that's that wild, I'm like, I'm just gonna use it like on a verse or with an artist that like this is accepted. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm also like, I come from a battle rap background, so like I feel like
Right.
I could. All right, so some of my old battle raps, like I'm like, I don't ever want to hear these verses. But as far as
Why
like,
was I so angry back then at this person?
yeah, well, that was the thing was like the style has changed so drastically. I feel like I was brainwashed though because I wasted a lot of time being like people like hated anything successful. Like they're like fuck mainstream. It's got to be this thing. But nowadays, like I'm actually I don't mind like because like not everything needs to be the most lyrical. It's like or
Right.
about punchlines. Like sometimes some people just have the coolest voice or flow. Like that's what I'm saying. I can listen to like Lil Peep and Juice World and like appreciate them as great artists, and then I can listen to Eminem being super lyrical. Even
Yeah.
Eminem collabs with Juice World. Like you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like
It
I
sounds
fuck with
dope.
both. Like I
Yeah.
understand that Juice World half his shit is he's not writing it. It's like he's coming off the head and it's still fire. And then Eminem might spend 3 weeks writing the most technical verse. Like it's I kind
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like I blend the two. Like I'll write crazy lines or I'll think of crazy lines, but I also do a bunch of shit on the spot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I know what you're saying, man. Yeah.
How do you what do
Yeah.
you think though about the new Eminem? Like you think it's gonna be fire or you think it's gonna
I I've been doing this thing the past few years that when I hear something is coming that I'm excited about, I just shut off. Like I don't watch a movie trailer if I want to see the movie because they just ruin fucking everything. So
I
I
feel
usually wait for it to come out. But like, I mean, I'm always excited for new Eminem, and like
yeah.
it feels like we're always getting a rumor for it. What I always hoped he would do though, which maybe is just me being an old head, is that when he was touring and had all those shirts, like the Paris shirt, EPMD shirt, and all that shit, I
Yeah,
wish
yeah.
he would do an
We rock
album with
shirts like this. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wish he would do an album with like one song with like Big Daddy Kane and one with all those people and like do like if I wasn't him, I'd be doing my fucking victory lap around old school hip hop and being like, I
Um
want to do a. It's like he's only worked with like one or two members of the Wu-Tang Clan.
I
It's
feel
like
like he's so big that I mean, he's kind of worked with everyone though. Like like he has one joint like Redman, Busta Rhymes.
he's done like one song with like those people. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. You know who like Russ did that thing Chomp, and it's like he had Crooked Eye and
Yeah,
like King Los, like just the lyrical goats on there. But I feel like Eminem is just such a big he's like such a big brand that like he can't it would almost hurt like to do that some at a certain point. Like I
but
get
it's
what you
like it's almost like if I was him, it's like, would you? How much do you think he really thinks about? I guess he is. He does still care about the response, and he does care about the. He seems to be hurt when the albums don't get good reviews.
um
But he'd almost be like he's got fuck you money beyond fuck you money.
yeah, but he also his legacy is like he was up there with like Pac and Biggie type shit. So it's like
Yeah,
for him any negative thing for him is like bad for history. You get what I'm
that's
saying?
true.
Because he's like really one of the he's living legend status. You know what I mean? Like beyond success. Like he's like literally when Eminem dies, bro, it's probably gonna be like the fuck it not to like bring
Yeah,
that bad, but I feel like his death is gonna have like so many people impacted and being like, yo,
yeah.
like probably like we never seen before, I feel
Right.
like.
Do you think he gets a fair shake now? Because it's like it seems to be there are days he does and in days that people are dying to crap over him. Like it's like I mean the argument of he doesn't get played in the club doesn't really hold a whole lot of water
He
with
kind
me.
of bodied that when he was like, the reason I don't get played in clubs is because he's like, you still play in clubs? He's like, I'm a stadium artist. Like
Yeah,
I don't get played in clubs. I get played in stadiums. Like, what are you
yeah.
talking
Club's not
about?
big enough for my music.
Yeah, no, literally, I was like, all right, you got that. The
Yeah,
thing about Ambro, he gets a lot of hate, but think about it. He's the most hated. Like he's the one person that anyone could talk about, and it's gonna give you like we're talking about him. Like he's
yeah,
just that big that like who are you gonna talk? Like you want views? Talk about Eminem. Like he's literally,
yeah.
like I said, he's living legend status. Like he's beyond anyone almost. Like as far as that. But like,
Everything he does gets attention too because he's very choosy about what he does.
yeah, yeah.
So everything's impactful and everything is well thought out. You know.
He's also the last of like I think there's other artists that are just as dope, but they're more. Eminem is like he was like on that threshold of when like before like Netflix and stuff, where like everyone used to tune into television and like watch the same things. So
Yeah.
he has that like he has two careers of like the legacy, like because celebrities used to be worshipped more. I feel like when everyone had no choice, like you didn't have like we could like you said, you just found some artist on Spotify
Yeah.
that was amazing, and there's like we have the access to that now. It used to be like who's the best artist, and there's like the television would tell you, the radio would tell you.
Yeah.
Like he's like one of the last dudes who had that. Plus, he's still going. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
It's funny, like I was talking to someone about this, that like to me, Eminem is sort of like the Elvis of white rappers, and
Yeah,
Mac
yeah,
Miller is sort of like the Beatles of white rappers. Because it's like I'm a huge Mac Miller fan, and to
yeah.
me, he's almost like not technically as good, but his emotion is like he's totally
It's different.
legendary in a different direction where there's very
Yeah,
little crossover in that, even though they talk about
I
drugs and
agree.
shit like that, you know?
Yeah, Mac Miller is like, I mean, I really don't think like level of legacy is not really like that comparable to M, but it kind of
Right,
is
right, right.
like on like Mac Miller like with a live band and like music. He has parts of like musicality better than Eminem. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But it's like Eminem is just a different type of demon. Like he's had so much push behind him for so long
yeah.
that it's like you can't really compete with. Like the only people who really are like on that level, it's like Drake, Lil
Yeah.
Wayne, Jay-Z. Like that's
Mac
pretty.
Miller has that thing where like sometimes if you just hear him almost like half giggle, it feels genuine in a way that other rappers don't. Like
Oh,
it
agreed.
feel
I
yeah,
agree. Yeah.
like I was saying to some like there's like Disney Hollywood Studios used to have this saying that it's like it's celebrating the Hollywood that never was, that used to be but never really was. When I listen to Mac Miller, he died when he was 10 years younger than me, or maybe even more. And he reminds me of a childhood that I never had, but still feels like I had. It's like
Yeah.
he's such so
It
beautiful
feels
with his
very
words.
human.
It
Like
does.
it's
It's
every other artist, even like me, sometimes it's like we like to gloss up everything. Like it's like, oh, I'm
yes.
not dropping a picture unless it's with a good camera. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
he's
I
very
do raw
genuine.
shit, but like Mac Miller, he's like you said, like he kind of was just like he had this certain thing about him where it's like he could do like the biggest shit, but he could also do like the smallest, like tiny desk type shit, and it's just so hard because it's just he's so genuine, and also like he could go from like hanging out with French Montana, sipping 2 liters of lean,
Yeah.
to like going to like Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande chilling at like a Disney party, and he's just gonna fit in. You know what I mean? Like,
I interviewed a few episodes ago Paul Cantor, who wrote the book Most Dope on Mac Miller that came out a couple years ago.
oh word,
If you
yeah.
haven't read it, it's amazing.
I haven't
And
read it, but that's dope.
he talked about how like he was contact before Mac Miller was really even anybody. He was probably Easy Mac days. Somebody at, I think Rostrum, whatever the name of the label is,
Rostrum,
contacted
yeah.
him, yeah, and sent him a link to it and said, "Hey, should we fuck with this guy?" Just to get Paul's opinion. And he's like, yeah, it is obviously rough around the edges, but he's like, this kid's definitely got it. And it's like,
Yeah,
and he got a chance to meet him a few times over the year and like interview him. But he's yeah, a special generational talent. Like unfortunately, like it's sort of like Big L, where it's like if Big L had like one or two more albums, we would be
oh
talking
yeah.
about him in the same way we do like, Machiavelli or
No,
Tupac.
facts.
Yeah.
Um,
But like just shy, and Mac Miller was so
Speaking of
close.
Machiavelli, Mac Miller should have dropped a song called Machiavelli with a C.
Yeah, it's true.
That
I
would have been
know.
hard because he had like the Macadelic thing.
You know what though? It's like somebody can do that. Someone would be mashing that up right now. Like by the time this is out, someone will already have that mashup out.
Mac Miller, he grew on me because like when he first came out, it was like early on in the white rapper phase where I think everyone was like still competing to be like the next Eminem.
This is when
So
he was stealing the beat too, and like did he steal a beat
yeah.
from like Lord Finesse or something?
Yeah, yeah. Anytime a white rapper came out, like after
Yeah.
Eminem for a few years, I was like, fuck that kid. I'm the next
Mooney
white
and I talked
rapper.
about on an episode of this how we both were like, yeah, fuck Mac Miller because of that. And then we never looked back until like years later. We're like, oh, I guess
Well,
fuck us,
eventually enough white rappers came up
Yeah.
and like they drifted away from like there can only be one white rapper. Like that's how it felt. Like it was like the industry would only let like one white rapper in at a
Yeah.
time. And it was like now, all right, like that's what I was saying about the brainwash thing too. Like back in the day, it used to just be like, oh, like hating on success, honestly, like in a certain way. Like nowadays I'm more open to like there's enough there's enough success for everyone. There's enough riches
Right.
for everyone. So like if you deserve it, however you get it. Some people too, what I realized too is like some people, like you said about rough around the edges, like some people get famous before they become who they're supposed to be. And like I like some people like, oh, why is he famous? Like he's not deserving. And I'm like, nah, he's a star. It's just
Right.
he got famous so quick that he's not where he's supposed to be yet. So like you're
Right. Right.
watching it
Right.
before he becomes what he's supposed to be. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of
It,
like Mac Miller. Like when he first came out, I wasn't like sold yet. I didn't understand it. And then it was like a little bit later, I'm like, oh, he got it. Like I get it
It's
now.
also easy to hate on a star too for some people because
Yeah.
like I don't like to hate. Like it's like
Yeah. If I
I'm
catch
not a
myself
hater.
hating, I'd be like, oh, never mind. I'm
Right.
wrong.
I check myself. Yeah. It's like,
It's
you know, wherever I
natural
can.
sometimes
Right.
though to
I
just
kind
be
of
like,
like making fun of things, but I also don't really like hating. So I try to find
yeah,
like
yeah.
because there's a certain
Okay.
joy in just like snapping. But like speaking of hating, this is what I've been doing my most recent hating on, and I want to see you stand on this. During my recent tour of Texas, I witnessed this again, where a lot of rappers seem to be not performing over their beats, but performing over the actual songs.
Yeah. I actually don't even care because this is my thing, is like it goes back to the like yes, it's cool when like someone is prepped up and they can just rip it. All right, so like I'll do both. Like if I'm going to like a hip hop show, like I got a show coming up. I'm like opening up for like Apathy, and
Oh, dope. Where's that
I'll
gonna
be
be?
like the opener. Like so, I was like I'm not like opening right before Apathy, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be in New Hampshire. But either way, like that
Sweet.
show, I'm like all right, I'm gonna do cipher verses, and I probably won't have my backing vocals and shit. But at the same time, I don't mind. Like I'll rap a fucking trap song with auto tune and have vocal. Like it doesn't matter to me because it's like as long as the person is dope or does what they're supposed to do. Like if I go to a show, I don't care if they rap over the vocals as long as their performance is lit. Like maybe you rap over the vocals, but you're fucking stage diving into the crowd. Or like
Yeah.
you're dancing. Like it doesn't matter. As long as you entertain me, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Because if I like your music, you already proved to me that I like your music. I don't care if you could do it live. I really don't. Like, you know what
I
I'm saying?
feel like if I'm noticing that the rapping over the vocals, something isn't being done right, or if it's blatantly obvious and all
Well,
like
if you're
get go,
not
something's
rapping
not
it,
being.
if you're lip syncing it, like that's
Yeah.
kind of whack. But like that's my thing too. Is like if someone raps, a lot of the thing is like I'll see some hood rappers, and sometimes they don't have the show track because they don't have access to the engineer or the studio.
That's what I have. That's I picked up that that is a little bit of it as well.
So I'm like, whatever. Like if he can't get a show track or he don't even know what the fuck a show track is because he's in the streets and he's not like accustomed to this shit, I'm not gonna judge him. Like I'm like, is he making good music? Is he still
Right.
raw? Like, and that's because that's the thing too, is it'll be like, who wants to be like the MC purist where I'm like, you're like, it's the opposite of hip hop and rap. Like what it originally
Yeah.
came from is like people trying to get out the hood and make something out of nothing. So it's like at the end of the day, like I don't like to be like snobby with that
Yeah.
shit.
Your
It's like
point is essentially that I'm showing my privilege, and that's probably a good point for me to take.
in a way though,
No,
because
it's
I
true though. I
get it.
definitely agree with you. That's a good point. I mean,
Yeah. But don't get me wrong. Like
no,
there
I
is a
appreciate
point
it.
where like if someone just comes and lip syncs, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you could have went harder, or like. But the thing is, do I like the song? Like, because
Yeah.
if you might not be the greatest performer yet, but like, do I like your song? Like, you know what I mean? And that's
My
really
attitude, I think where I come from is I just want to see people put the work in. That it's like,
yeah, yeah, I get that.
and it's
Yeah,
like I believe you'll never get to the next level if you haven't put the work in to get to this level. And it's like I just want to see that. And but that also comes from it's like, you know, I work from this same place that I'm sitting in now doing this studio, this thing from my couch. And it's like if I want to put the work in, I can just do it. You know, it's like, but
yeah,
like
yeah. No, I
it's
get that.
yeah.
The thing too is like if about putting the work into is like I'll judge someone for the level that they're at, kind of like it's like all right, if you compare like for example, you go to a local show and this dude has a show track over the vocals, you're not going to compare him to Eminem
Right.
at a stadium who's done a million shows. It's like I'm like, are you like, oh, this is your first show? You don't even have a show track yet? Like that was dope for what
Yeah.
it was. Like if someone sends me a track, I'm not gonna be like, oh, what'd you record this on? Like sounds like shit. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna be like, did you rhyme good? Like is that bar is good? Like rather like you said about hate, like I'm gonna find what I like about it rather than be like I'm gonna be like, all right, you might need to record in a better studio, but like the rap was fire. You know what I'm saying? Rather than just being like, this track is shit. Like, you know what I'm
Quote
saying?
Mac Miller, hate costs money, but the love's free.
That's what it is. Like, and it's better to like find what you like, or find like where you see the potential, and then be like, I like this part, but like you need to work on this other part. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
And that's too, learning those skills to communicate with people. Like so many people are just so quick to be dicks, and they're just
Oh
so
yeah.
ready to. It's like I've learned more and more as I've been around that like how much of people's action is based on projections, and
Oh yeah,
just
people gonna decide if they hate you before they even listen. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I get that a lot too with like on Facebook, like if I'm blowing up the pages and like someone might like not like a comment that I made about something, and then they're like try to hate on the song. I'm
yeah,
like, you don't even understand. I'm like, this song is lyrically better than everything you ever heard. Like,
yeah.
you're not given a fair chance because you just think like whatever you said, like whatever your projection is, I can't change your mind on that already. You already
Right.
dislike me, so you're not gonna give me my music a solid chance or whatever, or vice versa. Like,
Who I don't get who these people are. Maybe because I don't leave the house very much, but I don't get who these people are that just are on Twitter all day arguing about fucking nonsense.
I'm
I
not big on Twitter.
but even like any of these it's like I don't get like what fulfillment are you getting? Like it's like sometimes I'll be on like Boston.com and I'll go in the comment section, even though I know I shouldn't because I'm enraged by these idiots. Like
Yeah,
I have this new song out like called Idiot Stew in the one of the part of the chorus is if you're arguing in the comments, you've already lost. And like I
that's good.
can't
That's a good quote. Yeah.
I can't handle it. I can't handle that
Um,
sort of I'd be so embarrassed to myself. Like
it's just people hate, like you said, like I feel like at that point it's like they're just projecting hating
yeah.
just hate or whatever. They're caught up in the social media sauce. Like, and the thing is, this is like the way I know it is like, all right, I've at least like long enough been doing my music long enough that the majority of people that hear my stuff, or like strangers hear my stuff, there most of the people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're fire," or like, "Why ain't you
Yeah.
rich yet?" Like, majority is like, "This kid is good or above average." So like, I don't mind haters at all because I've had enough people. I've had like enough, even like dope ass Lupe Fiasco and like Rock Hymns and shit
Yeah.
doing like freestyle battles, and they're fucking with me. So I'm like, why do I care about this fuck boy? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like, but my thing is this: if the majority of people, like, if you could take your song or video and you could like run an ad, and majority of it is gonna fuck with you, at least 50% over 50%. If you could get over 50%, you're probably pretty good. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah. But if you like boost your music and 70% of the shit is like, this is trash, poser, blah blah blah, you probably need to go back to the drawing board. You know what I mean? Because it's like there, but also like you gotta realize it's like mob mentality. Like when they're
Yes.
arguing in the comments, I feel like half of these people are not even thinking for themselves. You know
No, they're not. It's really dangerous that these people are voting and driving because that seems to impact me.
oh
It
god,
is. I constantly think that when I'm on Twitter, I'm like, these are the other people on the road. They could be
that's
tweeting.
crazy.
They could be tweeting while they're driving. They could be tweeting this
You
nonsense
never
while
know.
they're
Yeah.
driving.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Nah, I feel like people on the internet in general, it's just can't take it too serious. You know what I mean?
Nah.
Use it for what you need to do. Like put your art out, put your whatever your content out, and just like hope for the don't expect anything and just hope for the best. That's the way to move in life, I feel like.
Yeah. So over the years, it's like you'll pop up my social media feed next to random people that I'm like, holy shit, who is he with now? Like where in the friggin' rap world is Carmen San Diego Harding?
Yeah, yeah.
What have been like your what have been the most memorable things you've been able to manifest? I like the way you say manifest because it's like I definitely know exactly what you're talking about. That it's like the energy goes in over here and somehow comes out over here and it's like twice as big. Like what are some of the things that you're most memorable for you?
Um well, we'll bring it back. This is like the most regrettable and memorable. It was like in high school in 2009, I was like top 10 in this contest judged by Eminem with Bob.
Yes, I was gonna ask
So
you about this.
Eminem
Yeah.
still owes me a signed CD. I know people that know me are gonna be like, this fucking kid still talking about that.
I
Like,
would be too.
until I get that, yes, you're gonna hear that from me.
That's content, man. You could still be making a video and you could have a whole Instagram page about that.
Eminem, eventually you're gonna see this, bro. You owe
Hmm.
me a signed CD. So that's like,
I've heard rumors that I don't know if this is true that Eminem like every Saturday listens to like every new album out. or like, obviously not everything, but all the big stuff. So just get
Yeah.
it in there somehow.
Yeah, nah, I feel that. Aside from that, like I did Red Bull freestyle uh TV shows, which was cool because like they hit me up. It was like the one with like the one I did 10 years ago, basically, probably even more now. It was Red Bull MC. It was like a TV show. I actually finally found the episode. It didn't like air when it was supposed to, but I found the episode and it was like hosted by Bun B. The judges were like
Nice.
Rakim, Pharoah Monch,
Oh
Gene
shit.
Trey. So like
Shit.
I have like cosign like Rakim like on one of the battles. It was like he's like it got to go to overtime. Like he went off. He's like I'm not judging if like it don't go to overtime. You know what I mean?
Damn.
So like I always fuck with
Is this
Rakim.
still out there? Because I know I must have seen that back in the day, but
Yeah, yeah, that's still out there.
I gotta
Rebel
find that.
MC. And I did one last year. It was just a pilot, so it never aired, but it was like Lupe Fiasco was a judge. My verse, who's like this female battle rapper. Who is the third judge? Fuck. I can't even remember. They're probably gonna hate on me. Oh, I think Esoteric might have been. He was the host, but I don't know if he was also a judge. But
Oh, nice. Oh, I think I remember seeing that somewhere
yeah.
online.
But I
Yeah.
had Lupe Fiasco like because I was ripping people, and Lupe Fiasco's like, there's a video. He's like pointing at me. He's like this kid's going off. You know what I mean? I was cooking people that night too. I think what happened is I came in third place. But what happened is I got like wavy because it was like a lot of my friends. So like eventually I just was like, oh, I could drink whiskey. It's open
Yeah.
bar. Yeah, let me get a bunch of whiskey. And it was like not that I got like sloppy, but I kind of just like wasn't in kill mode like I was at the
Yeah.
beginning of the night. So I got a little comfortable. But there was no prize really. It was really just to make the pilot. And then it was like if it I still actually think I'll find out in like December. Like if they do come back, it will be at the House of Blues or Royale.
Oh,
And then,
cool.
like I secured my slot by getting in third place. You get what I'm saying? So like
Yeah,
I did
that's
what I
dope.
had to do. Hopefully it gets picked up. The reason why they were trying to do it was because in like Mexico, like the Red Bull freestyle battle culture is like big. It's like Scribble Jam type shit. They're like selling out stadiums. But I also feel like they're behind. Like people in America are not on the freestyle battle shit anymore. It's like the acapella smack deep.
Yeah.
Like, I mean
So
smack URL.
do you still do I mean someone was asking me about freestyling recently about if I can do it. I'm like if you told me I had to freestyle on Friday, I'd be ready. I couldn't do it right now, but I could get the muscle back up. Do you still
Yeah,
freestyle?
I do actually, but well, one I did that battle like not that long ago. I freestyle on Discord, and like these, I have these chat rooms. It's like live ciphers always. But the thing is, a lot of them are not really like rap. Like it's not like I'm probably the oldest motherfucker in there. But the thing is, I like it that's just like whenever I feel like freestyling, I can go in there and there'll always be a cipher with a
Yeah.
bot playing like
Oh, that's
beats.
dope.
The thing is, I freestyle for the sport and like I like it, but I don't think there's no time where like I'm not like putting a freestyle out because I don't think people care as much. But
Yeah.
like Harry Mack is like the only dude who's like successful at a freestyle career,
Yeah.
which
He's
I
over
think
though.
not for nothing. I feel like I can freestyle just as good as him. I feel like I'm one of the best freestyles ever. But
Yeah, I
like,
mean you were, yeah. What's crazy too, and I with my most recent girlfriend who recently split up with, she's was a few years younger than me. She didn't realize that like all these battles weren't off the top of the head. And I think a lot of
oh,
casual
like all
rap
the real,
fans
yeah,
I think a lot of casual rap fans, like I mean, she knows rap, but like she doesn't, not like we do. I think a lot of casual rap fans still think that when they watch like Disaster versus Cannabis, that it's all at the top of the head.
yeah, yeah. Which is like you're like this dude is mind blowing. You're like,
Right?
yeah,
You're
we
like, yeah,
spent 3 months
it's like
rehearsing this verse.
it's like yeah, David Copperfield didn't really walk through the Great Wall of China either. It's like, and that's one thing too, where I think, and you know this because you've put in the work. Like hard work gets you way further than talent.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah, that's true. You got to just consistently, because you know why? You got to be at the right place at the right time. And it's like
yeah,
if you're not consistently doing that, no one cares. Like you can find a homeless person who's gonna be like spit the illest verse or like sing like Michael Jackson, but like they didn't put out the records, they didn't
yeah,
do the image, they didn't make the fan base, like all that extra shit.
right.
Uh, with the battle raps too, that's the thing too, is I don't really battle rap right now currently, not because I don't love battle rap, but because I don't like the idea of spending 2 months on a verse or a month
Commitment,
on a
yeah.
verse to give someone else the content. like a
Yeah.
different channel. Like you're building up these leagues. So if you want me to battle, like you got to pay me a lot because I'm like I'm writing at the highest level. Like people might not understand. Like I feel like I can write bars with the best of them.
Oh,
Like
I agree.
yeah, especially I don't even people don't realize that too because I do different types of music where it's like, but if you listen to me like on a cipher verse, it's gonna be barred up. Like, and I've done the acapella battles with like the lines where you spit two lines and there's six double entendres in the two lines, and it's like I know how to do all that shit. So it's like I definitely love battle rap, but and so what I'm trying to do is like I want to build up my fan base or my brand to the point where I can just skip the line because I'm like I need to
Right.
be battling the best of the best. Like I'm not doing this local shit, giving my content to them. Like if I'm gonna do like a local battle, I'm just gonna host it. I'm gonna film it. I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna get all the money
Yeah.
from the door. I'm gonna advertise it. Like because it's
Yeah,
like
control is king. It's like once you give yourself over to someone else, it's like, especially too, because this is one thing I noticed too back in the day, like the Project Mayhem and Mike Monarchy and like those days where it's like, if it's a hip hop show, only one person's making money, and that's usually going to be leads. It's like there's usually not enough money to go around at these shows for multiple people to monetize them. So if you're not in
yeah,
control of the product, that person's not ever going to be you. Like,
yeah, no, like exactly until you're a big enough artist that you could, because then even then, when you're like a big artist and you're headlining, you're still kind of like selling yourself short, but you're not like you're
right,
pulling up, but you're still the one bringing the crowd, but you're just like having somebody else set up all the infrastructure to like that's why they
right.
get there. Like until I'm at that level where it's like, all right, I'm touring nationally and I'm pulling up making like 2 to 10 grand a month, like a show or whatever it is. Um, I'm gonna throw the show myself because, like you said,
Yeah.
why until I'm the draw, I'm doing the rest of the work. I'm getting paid for it. Like if I'm making the
Right.
flyer, booking the acts, getting the sound system, like struggling to get everyone through the door, I need the money. Like,
Right.
but if I'm
Even
big
with, yeah.
I was like, if I'm big enough where I could just pull up and someone else did all that work and like we could split the profit, I'll do shows then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even like signing to like mate to like minor like small record labels. I've been doing more work for record labels, just like design work and stuff. And I've realized more and more just how little they really do. That it's like, okay, it's like, and there have been times that I've paid that I paid someone to write marketing copy for me. And I'm like, I could write way better than this. Like it's
Mm.
like there's only so much that these labels even do anymore. It's like, yeah, they're able to like mock up some like Photoshop images that most people can't do, but they're really not that hard for like anybody with.
Yeah. If you spend time like at this point, I'm literally like I could do every single thing a label could do.
Yeah,
The only people like, oh, why aren't you famous yet? And I'm like, well, because the the final point is money. Like
yeah.
it's like if you gave me money, I could blow up anybody. Like I understand the inner workings of the internet, how to run ads, like how to do all that
So
stuff.
to that point, so say someone gave you $10,000 and said try to do something with it. What do you think you would do? Like, what would be your instinct?
With 10,000, well, like right
Say you
now,
had like an album that you had $10,000 to promote.
if I didn't have to buy like the equip, like right now, if I got $10,000, I'm
Yeah,
upgrading my computer and my camera. Like, but
yeah.
that's just like for me wanting to make content faster. But like, rather see if I was taking $10,000 and I was running, like I was trying to make a product go. There's a couple of things you do. Like one, all right, so like you're gonna think like a lot of businesses, like this is where rappers mess up too, is they want to run ads, but you're not actually selling anything, so you're just losing money. So like the way to turn that around is like if you're running ads, like one trick is this, like you run Instagram story ads, but you run it to only people who are fans of Spotify, and then you run it to a Spotify link. So it's like they're only one click away from listening to your Spotify.
That's a good tip. Yeah,
So that's one tip. And then another thing would be like, say you have a song that's like a pop type, like I don't know, like for girls or whatever, you only market it to girls. Like you're trying to minimize how much money you're wasting essentially.
right.
But you need a product because like brand awareness. The thing is this though, if I'm spending money, it's gonna actually I'm not actually even gonna run ads like that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pay like pay for like, so now that I have the platforms that make money, so like say if I had a video that went viral on my channels, I'm making money back on it. So rather than running an ad, I might pay like an influencer, like say like a Funk Flex or something, to like yo, go listen to that new Hush Harding, and then
Yeah.
push that out, or like a wicked hot chick like dancing to my song and lip syncing it. Like that would do, to me, that would actually be more effective than just running like an aimless ad. You know what I'm saying?
Because the
Like,
thing is too, like I mean, how many times
people
have you
skip
bought
over
something off a
ads.
banner ad? It's like running an ad on a podcast. It's like that's great. Like I've heard about Casper mattresses, never bought one. Like
It needs to not feel like an ad. That's the
right.
thing. If, as soon as it feels like an ad, I'm not fucking with it. Like, so that's what I mean is like you have to be creative in the sense of like, all right, like maybe you put a show together. Maybe you have $10,000 and you're like, all right, maybe I could get in a feature, but like I need the feature to come pull up to this show and this video shoot, and it's a whole package deal, and it's like now like you have to pull, and then it's like say I get a feature, I'm like, all right, here's the content that you like part of the
Yeah.
deal is you have to post these to your stories and all your socials, and like, you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
funneling like that, but also making everything not feel like an ad. Like
Yeah.
it needs to feel natural, and that's why I'm saying like you would have to reach out to like different channels, and not for nothing too, like people don't understand like with the internet, so for example like Spotify, right? Once you get like a certain threshold on Spotify, you get into this program like Spotify for Artists. You get into this thing called discovery mode, and it's like you can put songs in discovery mode and Spotify will push you out, but they keep 30% of the royalties. And then another thing is like marquee on Spotify, like you can run ads on Spotify, but you have to be eligible to even do it. So like
Right.
there's certain things you have to be big enough of an artist to even utilize, or else like you're not even able to do that. So
Yeah.
like I would, if I had $10,000, like like I said, I can't give a straight answer because it would depend on the song, the project, and the person, and like the location. Because I would, like I said, I would be like, all right, what around here, like who can we utilize, and what makes the most sense that it doesn't feel like an ad. You know what I mean? Or like another thing though is like say buying a feature, right? Like like we've got features and stuff, but it's like
Yeah.
people would think like, oh, buying a feature, you're taking a loss, but you're not really taking a loss if you're a big artist. You get what I'm saying? So like say if I'm making money off my music and I buy a feature, I'm gonna make that
You're
money
making the
back.
money back. Yeah.
So it's gonna be free. Like, but it's like if you're trying to skip ahead, like you can't just buy a feature from someone up here when you're down here and think that you're gonna like make money off it. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's why it's best to work with features like a little bit about, like it's a ladder, bro. You can't just go boom to boom, you're gonna fall. Like you're gonna lose money. But if you
Yeah.
take each rung, like you're right here, you go to an artist a little bit bigger than you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's how you gotta move. That's if you're trying to work. You could also just grow on your own. Like,
Well, the thing too is some people, there's a lot of people who wouldn't be ready for success if they got
yeah,
it. That like the worst thing that could happen to them is they woke up tomorrow and their like Spotify page blew up, or like they don't have the skills to actually impress a large audience or stuff like that. If you're not taking those steps, it's not going to end well, you know.
I agree too, because you got to have your chance. Like, for example, like I used to be like thinking I was ready to blow up in my 20s, and like I'm like then I would have like fell to the temptation, drugs, women, whatever
That's
it
a
is.
big
Like
part of it
I would
too.
have
Yeah.
fell off, and also like I would have like signed my life away. Like nothing
Yeah.
would have mattered. Like I'm like now I can handle success. Like, and now it's like, all right, if I blew up, it's like all my pages are monetized. I own the rights to them. I'm selling my own merch on my website. So it's like
Yeah.
an endless
I wear
supply.
one of your hoodies all the time.
Yeah, yeah. So like now if I randomly blew up, I'm like, I have my things in place where I'll be generating money from it. You know what I mean? So like that's key.
And that's
And
huge to be an independent artist. It's like if you're not thinking in those terms, it's like I work with tons of independent artists, and it's like once again, you can see why some people are successful and some aren't. Like
yeah,
it's like I had lunch with Esoterica a couple months ago, and it's like you can just tell like being around that guy of like back in the day, it's like there's a lot of people that are at the same level of him that no longer you don't hear about anymore, don't do anything
yeah.
anymore, or rarely do anything. And you can tell in talking to him in 2 minutes why he is still successful. That like
Yeah, it's just knowing how to like sell and be a businessman. And also like you can't just think of like of define like you don't just blow up. Like it's not about just like success and blowing up. It's literally like enjoying the journey and just like I said, like building
Right.
step by step and
Just being
growing.
slightly better.
It's not just
Yeah.
like, yo, well, like Tory Lane said this in the interview. He's like, yo, he's like, sometimes like you might see an artist that's like down here and they make a hit song and like they up here, but then it's like once that song fizzles out, like they fall back, they fall off because they don't have like because their fan base, they only know them for this one hit song, right? So
Right.
like once that fizzles out, they don't have shit. But if like a artist like me, for example, like a lot of my fan base is like I've been rapping forever. Like my fans have been with me since here. So it's
Yeah.
like it's not just an instant blow up and fall off. It's like I built the foundation. So it's like I could disappear. Like say if I blew up, it's like I still have a back catalog or like other things that like
Yeah.
keep people interested. You know what I mean?
That's what Russ talked about too. I think either in his book or some other interview that like the importance of having a catalog and not just
Yeah,
being a
yeah.
single artist all the time. And like, so where is like, because I know you were before you were even out of high school, you recorded more songs than most people do in a lifetime. Where like what do you do with your catalog? Because I know it's not all available on. Is it just sitting on a hard drive somewhere, or is your old stuff available somewhere?
I mean, I have copies of it, but it's also like, I mean, there's old like sound clicks and my old YouTube's up, but they're not monetizing. And also, like, I look at it like this, like, even if I bought those beats, like, they might just be leases, so I might not even
Oh
have
yeah, that's a good point.
stuff.
And then there was
Which,
a whole time everybody was recording over like famous hip hop beats. Like people don't do that
yeah,
as much anymore, but that was the thing back in the day.
even now though, like a lot of my catalog, it's like I might not own exclusive rights to the beat or something, but it's like I'm not also. I don't think you're. The thing is this, like the way I move as an artist and like just making content is like I don't chase one, I don't put all my eggs in one basket. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and spend $10,000 on an exclusive beat and a huge marketing budget and a huge video
Right.
on one song because nowadays it's like you're not actually we're not all right. So people get it twisted. They think we're not actually selling music, we're selling ads. And what I mean by that is like I get paid to keep people on Facebook or keep people on YouTube. So
Right.
whatever it is, whether like this podcast or like me rapping, it doesn't make a difference. Like, yeah, you can make a hit song and like you're gonna generate money from that. But I'm also I look at it like this, like the same way I said that I try to record stuff on the spot and like be able to make content quick, like video what like the qual like you said, I make a lot of content, but like I try to continuously make the quality better. But my thing is this, I'm not trying to spend a long time to make that. You get what I'm saying? My
Right.
goal is
Efficiency is a huge
yeah,
thing where like it's like for me, even like these podcasts used to take me a couple hours to post edit. This one I could have done before I go to bed if I wanted to, if I
yeah,
didn't have
literally.
wrestling to watch after this,
But
like
that's the goal is because like my goal is like this, right? Like, yeah, I could come to a studio and if we spend 3 weeks, even like a month making one song and crafting this huge masterpiece, that's how you get like these crazy expectations and you get let down. But it's like
yeah.
if I've now like think about this, the past year, I've been making songs off the head in hours. Like I'll pull up, put the beat on, in 4 hours, I have a song, like not even 4 hours, 2 hours, like freestyle the whole thing in pieces. And it's like, I'm getting better with my voice. I'm getting more reps in. I'm quicker at making songs. I'm better at making melodies. Like my lines are coming quicker. I'm more confident in my skill. Like I'm not trying to make the best song. I'm trying to become the best artist you ever seen,
Yeah.
like all around. Like, so it's like I'm trying to be able to make a song, make the video, make the artwork, make the video, like make everything fast and high quality and just keep doing that over and over and over until it's like you already know what time it is. Like people can't fuck with that. They can't keep up because
Yeah.
it's not like, yo, this masterpiece took me this long. It's that I've made so many pieces. Like it's like the Picasso napkin thing where I don't
Yes.
know if
The
you heard
what's
it,
this
where
worth?
it's like
Yeah.
I drew it and it's $10,000. What do you
Yeah.
mean you just drew it in 2 seconds? I'm like, well, that took me a lifetime to be able to draw that in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of how I started thinking like, um, why why also like if you spend mad long and money working on one thing and it doesn't do what you expect it to do, like now you're disappointed and discouraged.
Right.
Where imagine like I just came in, played a beat, like you just made a beat with me and I just freestyled and then that became a hit song, I'd be pleasantly surprised. Like, yo, that freestyle just made us $10 million. Like,
Yeah.
or am I gonna be like, yo, I just spent $10 million on a song that did nothing? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
weigh it out. Like,
Yeah. I'm like sitting on a bunch of like I have like I've been finishing up a bunch of albums, and I have one in the can that has like Raz Cass and Cool Keith and a bunch of people
oh,
on it.
that's fine.
And I'm just like, I've been kind of, and I'm working on videos for all of them. I just finished this video that's like half animated, half live action. I'm making this other one like puppets that we're working on now, but like
That's
I'm
dope.
like
Yeah.
dreading the marketing of it because it's like, I mean, I'm really like, for me, I'm not really looking to get like six, like I'm not looking to make money off this stuff because it's just that to me, if this becomes a business, then my whole life is a
Yeah.
business. I'm never going to quit my day job to do this, but I want to be
You're
able to
doing
make.
it for the art. Like,
Yeah, I'm doing it for the art, and I want to make new opportunities. It's like I want this to open a door so I can do something else cool to open another door so I can do that because it's like, and so that's what I'm trying to figure out is the appropriate way. And I'm not going to spend $10,000 promoting
yeah.
this stuff, but like I'm trying to figure out the appropriate way that like to try to get what I want out of it, which is not really money.
No, I get that. Well, like a couple things. Like one, I think like you're doing your own videos. So that's already like now you're taking control of that artistry. You're also doing some live act, like some innovative shit. Plus,
Yeah.
you're rapping with like childhood heroes. You know what I mean? So it's like you're already doing it like for the like level of artistry, knowing that you could be proud of all that already.
Yeah, and
Rather,
that's
so
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
if it makes anything cool, like now you made money plus you did all that cool
Yeah.
shit. So it's like
Because as
that's
a kid,
my
all I wanted to do was be good. It's like, and I'm one of those people who I do shit that draws attention to myself, but I hate the fucking attention when I get it. I'm
yeah, I
just
get
like,
that.
why is everybody looking at me? Oh yeah, because like I'm standing on the stage with the microphone. Like,
Yeah, literally. Some things though, it's like this. It's like there's two. That's where I feel like rappers are all like you have split personalities because it'll be
yeah,
like you said, like I might feel one way, but I'm like I've been building this like Hush character my whole life where it's like, well, guess what? You don't even get to feel that emotion. Like, oh, you're nervous. Well, like Hush wouldn't be nervous, so you don't get to feel that. Put
yeah,
that shit down and be a superstar. Like you
yeah.
don't you like compartmentalize like it's like that peer pressure shit, like rock stars don't say no type shit, where it's like,
I like
hey,
that.
certain things you gotta just. But I feel like that's where like greatness comes from because like they say like what is it? Like courage is not like people the lack of fear, it's just like running towards your fears or
Yeah,
something. Like, you know what I mean?
it is like this thing in Three Kings is a comment about how like you do the thing first and get the courage after.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's yeah, literally like
yeah,
and courage too becomes comes from like just being kind of it's like jumping in a pool to be honest like it's like oh it's gonna be cold but it's like you could dread that or you could just cannonball in that shit and
yeah,
figure it out after
right.
and be like all right now I'm good like I've been in here and I feel like with a lot of shit that's kind of how you got to do it like there's no one better like yes it's good to work with like other people who could do like certain aspects to keep like a well-oiled machine but also like if you're not working with like someone who's an expert in something, like you might as well just try doing it yourself or at least learning
Right.
about it so that you understand like, well, I'm not the greatest person. I'm not the greatest math whiz. So like I'm gonna hire an engineer to build my house because I don't
Right.
want to design like that angle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but then you be like, but I might know like once the house is built, I know the best furniture to put in
Right.
there.
Another bets
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah, exactly. And know your own like self-awareness is a huge thing. And that's something you're very self-aware. But like people that are not self-aware, it's really hard to succeed these days. It's like
And a Facebook call. Let me X out of this.
that's all good.
um, Yeah, nah, I feel that definitely self-awareness is key and also like being able to move with like another thing is like sometimes like with rap like you got to be able to like be in on the joke like if you have like a meme or something go viral like turn that into your marketing or whatever you know what I mean like
Yeah.
don't be offended like
Yeah.
a good example is like when 21 Savage came out he did like that interview and they're like, what's that tattoo on your face? And he's like, it's a knife or whatever. And then it was like, everyone made that a meme, like, it's a knife. And then like Issa was like his meme. So literally his album was called Issa Album.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
it was like Issa Tour. So it was
You gotta
like,
keep that earworm going. You gotta like keep
yeah,
people
yeah.
like
Just realizing like when the universe gives you something, you
yeah.
gotta rock with it sometimes. Like,
Right. It's like, and so many people would be like, oh, like, so many people with too much of an ego would be like, oh, I don't want to be known for that. It's like just own it and make it your own and make it what you do want to be known for. you
Yeah,
know?
no, literally. Yeah, because you can always spin everything. Like people don't like Joe Rogan, bro. Like he was like the he was a comedian, then he was like the
I know Joe Rogan
and
mostly
now
from
he's
being
the
on news
biggest
radio
thing.
when I was a kid. Like, well,
Yeah,
back when he
like
had hair. Like,
yeah, like you never know what someone's gonna segue it
yeah.
into.
I
Like,
mean, Jesse Ventura. Like,
yeah, like anyone, if you
fucking
get your
Donald Trump.
yeah, like it's like you said, like doing something to build more opportunities. Like sometimes you gotta
Yeah.
like right now with the Good Burger and other shit, like I'm trying to be an extra, but I'm also if I'm a movie star 10 years from now, they're like, how the fuck did you do that? And I'm like, well, I was an extra, and then I was a
Right.
bigger extra, and then I was a bigger extra. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. While someone else was doing whatever, like, because I would say too, and we'll wrap this up in a minute because it's getting late. But like you have like, I don't want to call anybody out, but like of all the people, we had like a big crew back in the day, and a lot of we're not still friends with these people. But you had a drive that none of them really had, and that you have a drive that surpasses my drive. Like, what do you attribute that to? Was that something you had even as a young kid, or was that just learning from other people's mistakes, or?
Um, I mean, definitely both, because I'll say I definitely learned from a lot of people's mistakes. Because I was around a lot of again, like my even like my father and like other people around me. Not that like they like made mistakes in what I was trying to do, but just like being like, oh, I don't want to be like my dad. I don't want to be an alcoholic, so I'm not gonna drink
Right.
mad shit. Like, or like again, like having a vision early. So like kind of maneuvering like, all right, if I do this, I should only do it this much because I can't fuck up what I'm trying to do. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like that, and then
That's
also
that the love that forward thinking a lot of people don't have.
that's what it is. I'd say that's what it is a lot of forward thinking, which sometimes it is like almost like I realize like I've lived too forward thinking, where like now I'm starting to live in the moment and appreciate shit more and kind
Yes, yes.
of like because I remember like when I was younger, I was like so forward thinking that I'm like, oh, right now it doesn't even matter because I'm gonna be the superstar. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like fuck everything right now. Like, uh, so now I'm trying to find like the balance between that, and then also just once you get like the confidence of like when you learn something and then when you start like when you first start doing it you might be like discouraged, but then once you get like decent you can kind of like be confident in moving forward. I feel like a lot of people get scared like at starting something,
Right.
like they
I
psych
oftentimes
themselves
forget things that I've learned are hard. That's something that I come to do because it's like even like I mean I'll like do an album cover now in like a couple hours and I'm like this is pretty damn good and it's like oh there was a time where I couldn't have done this in a couple weeks and
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a time where a few people I know couldn't do this in a couple years and it's like it's very easy to forget how hard some of the things you learn are.
Well, artists too, this is another thing that artists need to remember. So like sometimes like I'll make a song and I'll be like, damn, like you as an artist, you're like, is this trash? Because like I didn't even have to try to make it. And it's like,
Right.
well, it's like,
Yes.
yeah, you've been doing it your whole fucking life.
Yeah,
Like
no
you
shit.
probably
That's
should
the way
be
it's supposed
pretty
to
good
be.
at it. You shouldn't probably have to try. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like now I have to remind myself that sometimes if I make a song real quick and I'm like, I think this is a bot. Like I asked my friend, I'm like, yo, I think this is fire, but like, am I tripping?
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, it's fire. What are you talking about? I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I made it so effortlessly, like I thought it could be trash. And it's like, well, duh. Like if you've been doing a million laps, like you should probably be pretty good at
Yeah.
something.
I saw something about like there was some meme about some Taylor Swift song that people couldn't believe it only took her 10 minutes to write. I'm like, look, it's her only job. She's extremely successful at it, and she's been doing it for a long time. So yes, I believe Taylor's, and it's like, and it's possible, like you and I, that you write a song, or you write a lyric while you're in an elevator, and then if you
Yeah.
spit it out like 2 hours later, it's like, yes, I believe Taylor Swift can write a hit song in 10 minutes on a good day.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel exactly like I feel like some of the greatest stuff, time is not like a factor in a lot of shit.
It's
It's
really not. It's more
hard
just the
work.
magic. It's like the some of the best songs I've written, like the freestyle I did, the Garden State Syndrome song, which I still perform down in Texas. Like I wrote that. I was watching Garden State Syndrome, and then
Yeah.
someone said, "I know I was on Garden State, the movie." Someone said a line, and I hit pause, and I'd stayed home from work today because I was too fucking depressed, and the entire thing came out at once. That's
Yeah,
almost
no, that's
never
really good.
happened to me again. You know?
Well, a lot of things too is like I've also like started to try doing this like as an artist is like say if I watch like whatever movies or like whatever I'm going through at the time. So like I might not write a song for like 2 weeks and then it's like all right, I read this book, I watched this movie. and I went through this like emotion. And then it's like when I finally get to record, I'm like, all right, I have like all this stuff that I am interested in. And like my
Yeah.
job as an artist is kind of like what are those things like like the Pink Floyd, like the prism,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
white light
prisms.
splitting into
Yes.
a rainbow. So like
Yeah.
as an artist, you're like a prism. So like
Yeah.
everything that you absorb, you should be able to put through and then make a painting. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like I kind of like people might not even know. Like I'm like, all right, if I'm just like I'm absorbing everything. So I might have watched like my most recent song. I dropped the song Snakeskin, and I dropped like a bunch of bars about like different types of snakes and shit. And I watched Kill Bill, and it was like they're all named after different
Yes.
snakes. And I went through some other shit like so it was like tying in a bunch of shit that I went through, but I'm like I had like ammo from watching Kill Bill, and I'm like people might think these are just punchlines, but I'm like that's my actual life. Like I watched a
Right.
movie that I like, and then I spun that into my real life and like emotions that I'm going
Yeah.
through, and I package it all up into this like this whole thing seems like the song has sound effects, the artwork, everything ties in together, and it's like this whole everything ties in together. You might think it took a lot of planning, but it was really like, oh, I watched Kill Bill, and some people did some snake shit to me, and
Yeah.
then I listened to like Kevin Gates had the song Birds Calling, and he had like bird sound effects in it, and I was like, oh, I like birds calling. Oh, look at all this snake shit in Kill Bill, and oh, this motherfucker is a snake. So like, fuck this dude. Let me put all this shit in one, and then it
Right.
just came out quick. And then I'm like, all right, one step at a time. You just keep doing one step, and eventually you have whatever you built. Like you might build a fucking staircase or whatever.
You
That's
know
the
what I
thing.
love about the way you just described is that like I totally follow that process there. If anybody tried to do exactly what you just did and follow that exact same process, it wouldn't work. But it's like this, it's a totally logical process that like,
Yeah,
also
yeah,
requires a big level of skill. Like there's a bunch, everything you just said, every step along the way involved a lot of skill and thinking. But
yeah.
but it's also at this point it's just something that flows out,
No,
it's
no, exactly. Yeah, because it's like wait a second, you took all this influences and made it into this one
right.
thing, and it's like, yeah, but I've been training, like you said, like as an artist, like I've been doing the reps forever to like learn how to pull from shit and like,
And I
and then
always think about art as an illusion. I remember the
yeah,
first time that I saw like when I saw like a map of what like an old school Nintendo game looked like when they blew it out so you see everything, and I'm like, oh, the
yeah,
world really just ends right there. But like you're so encapsulated in the thing. Like the Muppets to me are one of the greatest illusions of all time because it's like for some reason it's so fucking they're so believable even though they're
yeah,
just made out of
it's
felt.
whole universe, and it's just
Right.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like, but it's the combination of the way they're presented and the way everything is done. And it's like that illusion to me is what I'm most excited about. Is like how to create that illusion, that magic
um
trick in the moment.
thing about like for example the Muppets. I feel like we to bring it back, like talking about being an independent artist. I feel like and like catalogs is like yo, as an artist, like you just want to build your own universe. Like take whatever you like and like make it this whole thing, and then
Mhm.
it's like people eventually will catch on because you have all these like inside jokes and interests that all tie
Right.
together. Like, and that's
Reward
kind
people
of
for
what
digging
I'm
deeper.
yeah, and like that's where being a content creator like ties in because it's like I might just be taking pictures or doing videos or like cracking jokes, but they all tie into my universe. Like, you know
Yep.
what I'm saying? And
Exactly. Yeah.
that's kind of what you want to do.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't say brand. I'm glad you went with universe because
Yeah, universe is better. Like,
it is better, man. All
and
right,
that's
we've
what
been going for a while, man. Is there anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
Hush Harding Snakeskin on all DSPs. Go check it out. Other than that, I mean, Heartbreak Hush album just dropped in February. Definitely check that out. I mean, those are my two last projects. Right now, I have like stuff in the works, but nothing too major. So I'd say I'll plug those. And
When's that
also
apathy show?
August 17th.
Is
When
that
I
in
get more
Manchester?
details, it is, yeah.
Oh,
It's
I'm kind of seeing someone from Manchester, so maybe I'll go to that.
word. Yeah, now I'll give you more details when I have that
Sweet.
ironed out. Also just to plug this, I guess, plugging myself, any artists who need artwork, music videos,
Yes.
engineering at Hush Harding, hushharding.com, Hush Harding everywhere.
And I
Come and
will confess too to that point. and you can tell this is true or not. There have been numerous times over the past decade that I have just hit you up randomly to ask you a question, even though you are what 13 years younger than me. There's stuff that I know that you don't know and you can do faster than me, and you always have a great answer. And so I would trust anybody to do anything with you because like if you think what I do is good, know that I'm asking him for advice numerous times. So
Man, I
definitely hire
appreciate
Hush.
that. Thank you. Yeah, nah, definitely. I've been dope chopping it up with you. You already
Yeah,
know. Go
you
back.
too, man.
Yeah, nah, fucking appreciate you having me on here.
All right, man. Let's have a good one.